Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a legacy, Reverend Horace Sheffield III.
I guess I'm supposed to open the doors of the church, right? I'm a preacher, so I'm going to do it like preachers do it. My theme is, this is why I feel this way. Look at me, this is why I feel this way. 1916, Horace Lindsay Sheffield Sr., my grandfather, was married to Georgia Brown. They were in Vienna, Dooley County. And my grandfather was an outspoken man like my dad, and he was pushed off the sidewalk with his pregnant wife. And they took a train. They used to hop on trains, freight trains, and left Vienna, Georgia in 1916 and came to Detroit. And my dad was born in 1917. This is why I feel this way. My grandmother's grandfather, Wilson Brown, in 1850 had more land and more wealth than most white folks in Houston County. In 1911, he died poor, and his death certificate, his wife said, he used to be rich. This is why I feel this way. Help me, somebody. And then my great-grandmother, Mattie, who wore a hat, chew snuff, shoot a shotgun, 6358 Hazelette. She lived there till she died. I think she was like 112 or something. She had been a slave. And on Friday night, they would drink bourbon, soak their feet, and take their jackknives and cut the dead skin off. And my older sisters, one of who's dead, they were always afraid to confront her because she was mean. And they pushed me around the corner one day, and I was laughing at her feet. She said, "What you laughing at, boy?" I said, "Your feet." She said, "Boy, the history of Negroes been etched on these toes." This is why I feel this way. Grew up in a house with a man who was a labor leader, A. Philip Randolph, all those folks I knew. He would go to the South. We'd have to get up and pray. My mother would say, you know, the Klan has got them, Aaron Henry, you know, Charles Evers, whatever. And I was mad, but this is why I feel this way. And then we would go south, and I would see the fire hoses, and, you know, my dad took me everywhere. My sisters didn't get to go. And this was going on in Mississippi in the South, you know, bubbles and bar soap and peas in the pan and all that kind of stuff. And I got to the point where I would come back here and go through things that were a little bit similar. They're a little more subtle, but they were similar. And I said to myself, the only difference between Mississippi and Michigan, they spell differently. This is why I feel this way. Had an uncle named Ernest Sheffield, had a store on Hastings, and he died with a broken heart. Lived on Winslow and Grand River because his store was torn down to make way for a freeway by a mayor who deliberately raised black businesses. And now they want to redo I-75, 375, and I bet you none of those folks who lost will be there again. This is why I feel this way. And then my own personal experiences, you know, I grew up in Detroit. I'm 68, I'll be 69. So, you know, I grew up when I was in high school. There were race riots at Finney and Ford because all the white people who could not leave because they worked for the city, they were firemen, and the policemen had to live in certain areas. So they had their own areas that you did not go to. Come on, y'all know what I'm talking about. You didn't go out on Cashew and Chandler Park. If you did, you got back before it was dark. But this is why I feel this way. Boyd Brown and Bethune. You remember those guys? The police killed, they killed a police officer. They claimed that they were robbing dope houses. And the story was they were really shutting dope houses down. And massive manhunt. But I looked like Boyd. I had a big afro. And I was stopped so many times with guns put in the back of my head. I rode past a place the other day where one of them had me, just a cop, me and him. Nobody could see. He said, "Nigga, move, I'll kill you." This is why I feel this way. Are y'all listening? This is why I feel this way. And by the way, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I ain't gonna be here long because I don't preach with 8 minutes in my church because they won't come back if I preach too long. So let's cut to the chase. I tell everybody that we're living in the era of white male anxiety. I call it WMA. And it's evident in them trying to make certain that women give birth because they know their population is diminishing. My grandfather told me, he said, son, whenever white folks in trouble, black folk better run. Are y'all with me? And so it's white male anxiety. And it doesn't make sense because they're trying to hold on to something that they stole. It wasn't theirs in the first place. This is my country. Yeah, well, hell, you didn't build it. This is why I feel this way. I read something the other day. You ought to go get it. A guy named Stanley Wilhelm sums it up. The book is called Who Needs the Negro? It's all the cotton been picked, all the wheat hewn and shoes shine. Who needs the Negro? They only brought us here for free labor, and we getting on their last damn nerve. This is why I feel this way. They understand. Come on now, let's think about this. I'm about to open the doors of church. The reason they're scared is because they know what they did. They go to church, they be saying, thank you, Jesus. They say, thank you, Jesus, for what? Thank you that them Negroes ain't rose up and killed all of us. Is that bad for me to say? I tell people in my church all the time, y'all be glad I know Jesus, because if I didn't know Jesus, you'd be in trouble. But the point is, this is what this is all about. It's about them concerned about losing power in this country. So much so that the very principles that they made us salute when we were in grade school, the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and justice and liberty. Come on, y'all with me? That don't mean a damn thing to them now. Now, you don't believe me, but I'm telling you, some of them patriots, but they're on January 6th, they found flags in the bathroom and they weren't just red, white, and blue. They don't care about that. They're putting the Constitution out of reach completely. Now, I'm coming home. I'm really done. So this is why I feel this way, because I feel like, my father spent 50 years at Ford. My grandfather spent 50 years at Ford. We helped build this country. We made it what it is. And after all of that, they still don't want to include us. You don't believe me? Go to some of these suburban communities. I don't understand how y'all go out there and spend your money and they don't treat you right, but you go back anyway. Black person in business, they don't say hello in 5 seconds. You ain't never going back. This is how I feel. So the question is, as I close, what do we do about it? And I've thought about this because, I slept in Dr. King's home. He was in my father's basement. I knew all those folks, and great speeches are wonderful. And by the way, all the folks who claim to be in the civil rights movement were not. Dr. King had a lot of opposition. But we've got to organize. And I thought about this, being with my dad, A. Philip Rand, all people, what is it that will make a difference? Bernice, Davis, Anthony, you here. You can agree, please agree with me. I need somebody to second this motion. If you are woke, you need to vote. That's why they want to restrict voting, because they understand if people of good conscience and goodwill come together and vote together, they in the minority. They can't rule if we vote. I'm done. I think about all the people that go to concerts, and I go to the Fox Theater. I love Dita Baker, all them people too. But if we don't vote, we're going to find ourselves on a boat being shipped back from whence we've come.
Rev Horace Sheffield III.